CBS News senior political analyst and 60 Minutes correspondent, that's John Dickerson, joins us to discuss. John, this is a thing, always good to see you, of course, but this is the thing, you're the perfect person for this conversation. I think why the words are so hard, because you hear in February where he knew how deadly it was, the president, then you see that he's out on the campaign trail saying something very different, nothing to see here, no big deal. I keep thinking about people who died during that time and people who have lost loved ones. On the other hand, the president's supporters say, listen, he's supposed to be a cheerleader, which is what the president said he was doing. He doesn't want to cause panic. He wants to keep calm. Do his supporters have a point about his strategy here?
No. Gayle, there's a clear playbook when there's a public health crisis. If you read any of the manuals for leaders in a public health crisis, it says the most important thing is to be truthful to people. You have to tell them the truth, because in this case, if you're not truthful to people, you send them out into the world and they make the situation worse. They spread it. So to suggest that not sowing panic is a viable leadership option when you've got a pandemic that spreads through contact is not possible. But secondly, and this is really important because telling the truth here is crucial to public health. The president is mischaracterizing how he handled the virus in its early period. He was saying that talk of the virus and its virulence was a Democratic plot and something that the media was raising. And the reason that's important,
he called it a hoax.
Well, the hoax language is a little tricky, but what he certainly did was he said it was the Democrats who were raising it and the media. And the reason that's important is he is diminishing the warnings. So he's not just saying don't be fearful, but he's saying when you hear somebody saying this is something to be fearful about, you should be suspicious of them. That sows mistrust and distrust into future warnings about this as it goes forward. So it's much worse than not sowing panic. It's actively undermining the public health response.
So what does it say about his leadership during times like this?
Well, it says that in a crucial period, he did not follow what we would expect leaders to do, and specifically what we would expect leaders to do in a public health crisis. And again, telling the truth is so crucial because if you don't tell the truth at the beginning, not only do the cases snowball, but then people don't trust you when future decisions have to be made and they have to listen to you. Amanda Ripley wrote a book about disasters and what leaders do in a disaster. And the first thing that they all say is tell people the truth, even if it's an unpleasant truth. Turns out people can handle it. And when you tell them the truth, it binds them all together. So there's a playbook for this. You tell them the truth, and that sets the conditions for all the other hard truths they're going to have to hear from you. And finally, why are people distrustful about vaccines right now? Because they've been fed a steady diet of mistruths, including yesterday from the White House podium, in which the president's press secretary said he never downplayed it. Well, there are 32 cases of downplaying it from the Washington Post count, and the president himself admitted it. So the ongoing lack of trust creates a bad situation, not in the past, but in this very moment.
Well, there certainly is a lot of chatter about it, John. I was watching news last night. I stayed up very late watching all the coverage. It's being compared to the Watergate tapes and to a smoking gun. Do you think it rises to that level?
Well, as an abstract matter of presidential leadership. And why does this matter? The president's key job is keeping everybody safe. This isn't just one bad decision in the heat of the moment. This is a protracted choice over a long period of time while the stakes were as high as they could possibly be to not inform the public in the way it needed to be informed. So this is about as big a decision as possible. What's different now, though, than during Watergate is that we don't think about things in the abstract. We are in a condition, and we're in the middle of a presidential campaign where everybody is off on to their sides, and there has, we've seen again and again, been very little interest on the president's side to say anything that's critical of him. Particularly now when it's a presidential race where the stakes are high, there's not that pressure on the president that Richard Nixon had when a lot of Republicans came to him and said, you've got to resign.
All right, John, thank you very much. Good to see you. And a reminder, COVID-19 is still thriving, everybody. It is still very much with us. Bob Woodward's first broadcast interview about the revelations in his new book will air this Sunday on 60 Minutes. He tells Scott Pelley, his name hasn't changed, what he learned from his 9 hours of interviews with President Trump. And we will be speaking with Bob Woodward next Tuesday live right here on CBS This Morning. Really looking forward to that.